Salut Romania! Ce faceți? Bine? I think I get this off. Safety first, but education the very first. Actually, this webinar wasn't planned as a reaction to the current situation. This webinar was planned a little bit ahead. We are doing a lot of webinars, of course, with the reaction to this. We will be probably doing even more webinars. In this webinar, I would like to tell you more about, I would say, my and our core topic, which is talent sourcing. Actively looking, actively approaching people, utilizing your personal brand for that as well. On my mobile phone, I will see the questions. So if you have any questions during the webinar, and I can see that already there are people coming in, Daniela, Anna, Georgana, Denisa, Camelia, Joanna, Ambra, Andrea, Simona, Stefan. Salute everybody, salute. So if you have any questions, just let me know, and Clementina, hello as well. And I will discuss that further. We are actually preparing with Learning Network, as you can see the logo here, and Clementina behind it. We are doing course which will be at the end of the year, April, which is a full day course on this topic. So this webinar should be kind of a quick walkthrough with some quick tips which you can use right away. But it should be some walkthrough over this content, yeah, because there is a lot of content. Even for the one day, it's a lot of content. If you don't know me, my background is from software engineering and mathematics. I studied Faculty of Nuclear Sciences and Physical Engineering, but we know already that today's recruitment, it's heavily about technology. It's heavily about analytics. That's why even the first chapter in the training and part of this webinar is talent mapping and recruitment analytics, for example, because it's based on data. So all of these things, suddenly, as a former software engineer, I could utilize in this industry, which is recruitment or HR, if you want. So I started working for a corporation as software guy, and suddenly, like a side job, I started doing IT recruiter. I was kind of utilizing my spare time, and I maybe realized that I'm not just a pure IT guy, and I wanted to do some more business related things, and I started with IT recruitment. A lot of people told me that, hey, this guy Moss, it's the guy from the IT crowd, show us how you really look like at that time. Yeah, so this is some old picture I found out from the university times. Then I wrote a book, People's Merchandise. It's already 7 years ago. Which was one of the first books on the topic talent sourcing. At the very beginning of where companies started actually to utilize, for example, LinkedIn. But it's not only about LinkedIn, as you will see. It's about Facebook. It's about any digital but also non-digital sources as well. So this was the book, and based on the book, it was kind of my entry ticket fully. I stopped being a software engineer on half time, and I started to be a full-time recruiter, and maybe in this term recruitment entrepreneur. Because of the book, I found my business partner at that time, Milan Novak, and we founded the company Goodcall, which is currently the largest talent sourcing hub in Central Eastern Europe. We have over 140 employees. The last year turnover was over 5.3 million euros, and we made 1,200 placements per 2019, mid and higher positions. Yeah, and we can say that 99% of that was based on active talent sourcing. 99% based on the outbound talent sourcing. Yeah, so we are looking for people, approaching people, and so on. Let's say a few percent out of that 100 was done over inbound talent sourcing, which might be, for example, we have our mobile app, or we can be doing some special job ads focused on some specific groups of people. Maybe you wonder why Romania. It's not my first time. I was in Romania. It's maybe my 5th time already doing some training, presentation, or business there. And actually, believe or not, one of the most favorite TV series, it's Umbre. Yeah, Relu is the guy. So current job market, it's tough, of course. Now with the coronavirus thing, you maybe wonder what will happen after. And a lot of companies, as you can see, they are definitely postponing, for example, the hiring of the people who should start working by April. They will not start, or some of them, most of them will not start, because people and companies are postponing that to the future, and we will see what will be after. But in general, we are living in the times where the leverage on the market, the leverage is on the side of a candidate. That's why here on the picture, actually the guy there, he's the candidate, and we are behind the fence, like the recruiters trying to get that one candidate. And you know it from Facebook, you know it from LinkedIn, where you have one candidate, or maybe even from the major job portals you have in Romania, and you know that one guy, especially when it's a demanded group of people on the market. Maybe he's a software engineer in some demanding technologies like Java, JavaScript, and so on. You will not be probably the one and only recruiter reaching this guy. It may be people from automotive. You have some, like for example, Dacia and some machinery factories in Romania as well. Those people are in high demand as well. So you will not be probably the first one, not only firstly approaching the person, but you will probably not be the only one giving the person your offer. If you are decided to hire that person, you will be giving them a proposal. You will probably not be the only one doing this proposal for this person. So the competition is really, really high. The change of on the job market was also caused by the several things, and one of the things was definitely LinkedIn, because imagine at the very beginning, companies were putting job advertisement into newspapers. Newspapers, so everybody knew that when I'm looking for a job, I can buy a newspaper. That's why those newspapers were like that thick, and I could find my job there. Companies, they knew that if they are looking for employees, they need to advertise in the newspapers. Perfect. Both parties are kind of meeting at one point. Then job portals, so newspapers kind of went online, okay, but then LinkedIn and practically any other social media, and people are suddenly everywhere. And the problem is that we are not approaching only people actively looking for a job, because in the newspaper, of course, most likely there were people who were looking for a job currently, right now, but we are hiring people, even so-called passive candidates, so people who are sitting somewhere and maybe they would like to consider changing a job. If it's a right offer, it's a right proposal, they would change a job. From my practical point of view, from the practical point of view of a recruiter or a talent sourcer, my idea behind this is to use any technology you can use to actually, for example, approach the candidate. It's not only about like having a phone, calling a candidate and sending emails. You can easily send to the candidate, for example, SMS message. You can send them Facebook message as well, of course. You would practically do whatever you do to your friends. Why sending SMS to a friend is normal, and why wouldn't be that normal sending SMS to a candidate? So definitely use, for example, SMSs, which there is a huge increase in for example, SMSs to a candidate, from recruiters to candidates in the world. A lot of these recruitment software applications like ATS, applicant tracking systems, they are embedding this functionality of sending SMS to a candidate directly into the software. Speaking of unemployment rate, you can see that Romania is number 7 in the based on the January numbers in the European Union, and you can see the Czech Republic is actually the country which I'm from. Now I'm sitting in Prague. We are the number 1. We are actually the number 2 globally, so it means that Czech Republic is the toughest market in the Europe, where to be like, it's a tough job to be a recruiter here, to be honest, because vast majority of the candidates are passive candidates. They are working somewhere, and there are basically no free people on the market. But actually, when we compare the numbers, we were once actually under 2% of unemployment rate, 1.9. You can see that Romania from these numbers will be slightly below 4%. So of course it's really tough as well. Romania, over 8 million working people, which is, let's say, less than half of the population. In the Czech Republic it's 4.5, but it's also like less than half of the population, so it's kind of the same. But there are some micro trends, or let's say macro trends, macro trends which are influencing your sourcing funnel as well. Because imagine, for example, based on Randstad, they are saying that the retention rate is, so imagine you have employee and currently those employees are working for you, for example, 4 years on average. But the problem is that this duration is going down. People are working for companies for less and less and less, so they are changing jobs more. Of course, in the bigger cities like maybe Bucharest, maybe Brasov and so on, it can be even more frequent, because simply those people have the opportunities. The more opportunities you have, the people are changing the jobs more. We, for example, as Good Call, we have 9 branches, and we can of course see that, for example, in Prague or in Brno, which are like the bigger cities, the time of changing the job is more frequent than in the smaller cities. It's simply like that. But in general, it means that, for example, they estimate that in 2030, people in the age of 38 will already change 12 different jobs. So companies maybe need to prepare for a scenario that they will be hiring people for 1 year. But I think in general, we can be talking about the future of work. And for example, in the US, something like 38% of people are already contractors or freelancers. They are not full-time employees. They are not like on employment contract in the company, and they are working like freelancers. So you as a company, you can of course have employees. You can of course have contractors, like doing almost the same job as an employee, but it's a contractor. There are different, let's say, employment laws behind it. Or you can of course, for example, buy specific tasks from several other people, but they work just on the task. When the task is finished, you go on. Yeah. So maybe it's not only like, we don't need to talk only retention, but we can be talking how actually company work with their workload. Yeah, that's probably the question to the future. How to structure your employee, contractors, freelancers scheme so it's working for you. All right, so my sourcing methodology, because as we can see, tough market, we need to create a competitive advantage. It doesn't matter if you are a recruitment firm, a recruitment agency, or if you are in-house working somewhere as in-house recruiter, HR manager, HR specialist, or something like that. You need to create a competitive advantage. For me, I like divide this into 3 simple, or let's say not simple, but 3 major steps. One is you need to maximize long lists. Maximizing long lists, I sometimes call it exhaustive searching. I will practically show you in a minute what actually it means. But by maximizing long lists, imagine I'm looking for accountant in Cluj-Napoca. If I'm looking for accountant in Cluj-Napoca, I want to have the selection in my search, of course LinkedIn, of course Facebook, maybe of course some other sources. Maybe I will look for some CV using Google. I can do that as well. But I want to see what's actually on the table there. I want to see all the options. I don't say that maybe it will be 1,000 people. I don't say that I will approach 1,000 people, but I want to have that snapshot that I have that 1,000 people I can actually approach. Why? Yeah, because it's actually improving your funnel in the second stage, which is maximizing your response rate. Because if you, for example, imagine I'm looking for accountants in Cluj-Napoca. If I approach 50 accountants in Cluj-Napoca who are easy to find because they have good profiles on the internet, they have like a lot of keywords there and so on, probably other companies are going to approach these people as well. So I'm not creating my competitive advantage there. Yeah. So in this case, I need to find more. I need to find not some like low-hanging fruits, as it says, but I need to find some more difficult to find profiles, which probably and maybe I will have exclusively for me. Plus, there is some mathematics behind it, and on the full course, I'm showing you some data, how many people, for example, you need to approach to get that one hire. Yeah. So imagine that if you, for example, know that you need to approach 100 accountants in Cluj-Napoca to get that one hire, and you found just 20, you are going against your odds that you will probably fill the job or not. Yeah, so that's definitely important. Step number 2 is maximizing response rate, sometimes by using so-called extreme engagement. Extreme engagement, I will show you also in a minute how it looks like. And extreme engagement is, for example, about using a video. You have imagine 150 developers, you need to approach them, but by a simple message, you know that your response rate will be, for example, 15%. Yeah, because difficult group of people, they are not replying to recruiters anymore. They get 5 different invitation and messages every day, and so on. It's a problem. And do it as fast as possible. Of course, time is the variable as well. If you have 1,000 accountants in Cluj-Napoca, as I mentioned, it's probably difficult to approach all of them in, let's say, 1 hour. Yeah. So the sooner the better. Yeah, because you will be first at the candidate, and of course you have more positions you need to work on. So, and you have maybe as in-house recruiter other tasks you need to work on as well. So this is also practically and will be practically explained in this course we do with Learning Network. If you want a promo code for this webinar, I will be showing that at the end of this webinar. So what's also in it? As I said, there are 4 major modules: recruitment analytics, searching and targeting, a huge chapter, approaching the candidates, also a huge chapter, and personal branding for recruiters. So about the first module, about the analytics, of course we are talking some labor markets data, but we are talking about the numbers game, about the recruitment funnel in today's world. I can give you an example. So this is, for example, a JavaScript developer role for a company iBillboard. I don't know if you have the company in Romania, maybe not, but it's not important. They are doing these big billboards, so advertisement company. This is a report from our database. We use datacruit.com, which is one of the companies we founded 6 years ago. So we started doing, because we knew that IT will be really crucial for us. So we started with our own development team doing our own database. So you can see from this analytic report, that to get that one hire, which is the place at the very end, we needed to approach 138 people. So 138 people are on the long list. So a sourcer, and as you can see, there are actually 6 different sourcers. Yeah, as you can see here in this, over there, as you can see the list, you have 1 recruiter and 6 other sourcers. The job was done in 35 days. So in 35 days, we fill the job. So 138, out of that we got 5 people, so only 5 people, because it's a tough role, it's a development role, software development role, it's a tough role. So only 5 people actually were interested in the job, and from, let's say, the first screening call, and from the first screening, they were suitable for the role. Finally, 4 people invited for the interview. 1 person got the offer, and that 1 person actually accepted the offer, which happened in 35 days. Yeah. So this is the recruitment analytics. When you have more roles, as for example, I mentioned that last year we hired over 1,200 roles, and I'm talking about just the placements, but of course we have a lot of these analytics where it didn't happen to be a placement at the very end, but you have the beginning of the funnel. You have the response rate, you know how many people you need to get to the screening phase, for example, and so on. That's why I'm able to provide you with these data, and you can be more analytics savvy, analytics, let's say, smart in the way how to do sourcing and recruitment. There is also talent mapping. Talent mapping, because I already prepared here this is LinkedIn, this is the basic LinkedIn, this is the paid LinkedIn. And what is talent mapping? Talent mapping is actually a technique which you can use to map the whole market and see, for example, what are the top 5 companies in, I don't know, in Brasov hiring people in here. For example, we have the mechanical engineers, engineer constructor. Yeah, how many of these? What are the top 5 companies who are actually employing people there? Because most likely those companies will be companies you would be taking the people from as well. You can see, for example, what schools they studied and so on. So as you can see here, I created a search in the paid LinkedIn. Currently, this was also possible to do that in a non-paid LinkedIn, but LinkedIn changed something, and actually the current and past companies are not that easy to seize that from. So here I put there in the job title the mechanical engineer constructor, and I put their location Cluj in Romania, which got me over 550 total candidates. Okay, but what I can see from that, when I open current companies, I can see, without any further knowledge about the Romanian market, I can see that there is some company ARC Research and Development in Romania, and they have 33 people there. Then there is a Bosch, and you can see there is also Bosch Group Romania, 10 people, so 10 plus 26. So it's actually even more, it's 36. But companies, sometimes you have, for example, Bosch, you have Bosch Group Romania and so on. But at the end of the day, it's the same company. So you can see just from this, that from Bosch, we could do a separate search from that and find out exactly how many people working for Bosch in Cluj-Napoca. But it's actually 36, so it's actually even more than ARC. So probably Bosch is a big employer of these type of people. Bosch is automotive as well, in the Cluj region. Perfect knowledge I need to have. Then we have Emerson is there, but Emerson, you can see that there is another Emerson here, 13 people plus 18, so it's also even more. Guring Cluj-Napoca, again twice. You can see that you need to be, this is about to be systematic, because with LinkedIn, as well as LinkedIn doesn't know that mechanical engineer is engineer constructor in Romania. I need to find out. I need to use translator. I need to ask someone and so on to find this information. Interesting information might be past companies as well. You can see that Emerson, when we just get the first 2 together, it would be actually over 80 people, which can mean something, that suddenly there are less people. Maybe Emerson were firing people, losing people for some reason. So from this, you can also grab some kind of information, what's happening on the market, who's going from where and so on. I can find out what are the field of studies, what are the subjects these people studied in the universities. So you can see most of the people studied mechanical engineering, obviously, mechatronics, robotics and automation engineering, manufacturing engineering, mathematics and so on. I can see the schools as well. There is obviously some technical university of Cluj-Napoca. In this case, here we have Stuttgart, Brasov and so on. So there are some University Polytechnica in Bucharest. But just from this, I know that probably there is one major university, Cluj-Napoca. There are not 3 of the universities in Cluj-Napoca. There is probably just one. Yeah, so a lot of data. If you have the paid LinkedIn, especially the recruiter account, this is like the whole overview over the data you have. Yeah, there is the current company, past company. You can see the years of experience over the group of people. So we can see that the highest number of people from the 551 people have 6 to 10 years of experience. So we can say quite experienced people. But we can also see that already over 170 people here, so it's like above me, are working for the same employer for 1 to 2 years, which is not that much, but there might be going, a lot of people are 3 to 5 years. So there might be a lot of people who might be, let's say, sensitive to changing a job. They might be willing to change a job because, as I said, working for some company for already 5 years, those people are probably over the average amount of time people are spending there, which is 1 to 2 years, as we can see from this chart. Yeah, so you can see a lot of data. Data should be for recruitment number one priority. Of course, you need to have a tech tools actually to grab the data. But as you can see with this, I can easily, for example, find even with IT technologies, I can find which companies are using PHP programming language, for example, in Bucharest. I can see top 15 companies using this. Great info for me if I'm interested in PHP developers on the market. Okay, module number 2, it's about searching and targeting candidates. You can see it's really chubby chapter where there are a lot of information about how to find people using Boolean operators, using X-ray search, which is how to use, I can maybe show you some, which is about using search engines over different sites and finding people, because there are websites which are not, their primarily focus is not to look for people. Airbnb is a portal where we are looking for accommodation. It's not supposed to be a people search engine. But when you use Google to search for Airbnb, you can actually find, for example, developers as well, because on Airbnb people have their profiles there, including some information like job, company, school, and so on. So you can be doing that, but you need to use search engine for that. That's why it's called X-ray search. But of course, it's not about only LinkedIn. As you can see here, it's about Facebook, Twitter, Instagram as well. It's about some specialized platforms like Dribbble, Behance, Bitbucket, GitHub, Stack Overflow, About Me, and so on. We can actually touch any even specific Romanian forum. For example, if there is some special forum, discussion forum about accountants in Constanta, I can do that. I can use Google, for example, or Bing, but most probably Google, to search through this website and get that information. So what is exhaustive searching? Imagine I'm looking for product manager in Romania. All right, so I open LinkedIn. I can open, for example, normal LinkedIn here. I already have some search here, so I don't need to have, at the beginning, of course, I don't need to have a paid LinkedIn. Yeah? I was showing you the talent mapping, but that's, for example, one of the exceptions where it's, let's say, better to have paid LinkedIn. But if you have, like, let's say, average, or you are beginner in this, or you are doing not some specific, for example, if you are looking for people based on seniority, you really need people who are product managers but with 1 or 2 years of experience. It's really difficult to do that with a non-paid LinkedIn. Yeah? But if you don't care, you are, for example, looking and you don't care, or there are not so many people on the market, so you go through all of them like that anyway, you don't bother. Yeah, so you would normally use, as I have right now, right here, as you can see, this is the non-paid LinkedIn, non-paid people search, and I would put here Romania and into title, which is meant to be a current title. So when I put here product manager, I'm saying, hey, LinkedIn, give me all product managers, people who are on the position right now. But the problem is that with this search, I will find 2,600 profiles, which you maybe say, whoa, it's quite a lot. It's quite a lot, but of course, the next stage would be that the product manager, we would filter out people in a, for example, specific industry. You are not looking for a product manager like a general product manager. It almost like doesn't exist. It's like looking, imagine you would be looking for a manager in Romania. Yeah, hundreds, thousands of results, but it doesn't make any sense. Maybe you are looking for HR manager, maybe finance manager, maybe product manager focused on IT. Yeah, maybe product manager focused on automotive. Yeah, and so on. Maybe product manager having some specialized certification or having some technology. Yeah. So don't bother with this number. Usually the problem is that when you have when you have not so many results. Yeah, this is not a problem. So when I'm a better recruiter, I can probably use also some local term, which in your case, in case of Romania, might be manager de produce. Yeah, and you can see suddenly I have slightly more profiles, not so many, but slightly more profiles. If I go further, I would use also some typos, yeah, misspelled words. So as you can see, there is the product manager, yeah, product manager or product manager, yeah, misspelled typos. There are a lot of people, actually the word manager is the most misspelled word on the whole LinkedIn. So definitely with this, as you can see, I got over 3,000 profiles. Yeah, so I'm gaining my competitive advantage because suddenly I have more and more profiles, and probably with these searches or with the last search, I found already profiles which other companies, other recruiters are not able to find, or they are more difficult to find. When you would do the search after the course, you would do search probably something like that. Simple search for terms: product, produce, and PM, which is more like project manager, but some people use it for product manager as well. So I use it as well, and you can see I have over 6,000 profiles. So I over doubled the original number. I over doubled the number. Why I have so many profiles right now? Yeah, the reason is that maybe your company is calling a product manager, but company next to you can call a product manager, for example, product owner. They can call the position vice president of product. They can call the position head of product. Head of product for, let's say, a company having 200 employees is product manager, or usually the tasks or what this person is doing at the company, it's the work of a product manager. Yeah, so you need to be more savvy in the way how you structure your searches. And imagine, regardless you have paid or non-paid LinkedIn, it doesn't matter, because you cannot buy this. Yeah, you cannot buy that the search will be done like that. Yeah, you need to put your intelligence in there. So you can see LinkedIn is like a huge database, but it's quite dumb. You need to use your own brain. So different scenario. Imagine I'm looking for software testers. Software testers, people working usually for a software company, and they are testing software. Yeah, so there are some maybe architects, there are designers, they are designing the software, what the design will be. There are developers, they are actually coding the software. There might be some product managers who are like managing even the things around the whole process, communicating that with business and so on. And like right after development, there are testers who are taking the software and doing so-called software testing. Then there are people who are doing deployments and maybe support, for example. Yeah, so software tester. If I do the first search, which maybe can look for you quite comprehensive, yeah? Software tester, verification engineer, quality assurance engineer, QA engineer, and so on. Perfect, yeah. But as you can see, I'm using quotes there. I'm using quotes, but it's a problem, yeah, because when you have someone who is software and support tester, for example, or who is tester, whose position is tester, and behind that there is, for example, accounting software. Yeah, maybe the person is testing accounting software. You will not have that person in this search, yeah, because I'm looking for software tester right next to each other. These two words must be there like that. If there is some word in between, it will not work. Or if the order of the words is different, it will not work. So when I use the search without quotes, you will definitely get more results. You will get all the results from the first search in this case, but you will get also other people, for example, like these people I just mentioned. But you can go even further, yeah, because when I put a software engineer, yeah, for example, into here, if you have paid LinkedIn, you might be putting that into job title right here, as you can see. So as you can see, even here with the mechanical engineer, I'm not using any quotes, yeah, because I would be only losing people. I cannot gain more people. So my recommendation is don't use quotes in title field. Yeah? In the specific title field, usually in 99% of cases, it doesn't make any sense. Software tester, I'm still questioning software tester because in this case, there must be the word software and tester, yeah, but there are definitely people having just tester there, yeah, so I need to change it from software tester. Now I have tester, testing, test, verification, quality assurance, QA, validation. With this search, the third search query out of these 4 search queries is the best, yeah, because the number 4 is just put there some local language terms. I don't know, maybe there is some term for a software tester in Romania, yeah, when I'm doing the search in Romania, so I should definitely use it, yeah. So you can see that the more or you have, the better, more results you will have, but also the more simple, like one word terms you have, the more results you have, yeah. So that's why in general, instead of product manager, I would be always thinking just putting their product. Why do I need a manager? Maybe it will be product owner or supervisor or anything else. All right, sourcing without LinkedIn is about using anything else than LinkedIn to source for candidates. LinkedIn is currently kind of a standard for HR, so it definitely makes sense to go beyond and try to look for people somewhere else. The people with Facebook is that since these affairs with Cambridge Analytica, the involvement in the US politics, the US elections and so on, Facebook is closing all these peripheries where you can search for people. Currently, what you kind of can do is that, for example, as you can see here, I opened Facebook, I switched the Facebook into English, which will actually enable you to see this. You can see in the left column at the beginning. Normally in the local language it's not there, so when you switch your Facebook into English, you can be searching by cities, education, work means companies or titles, but it's working quite odd, yeah. It wasn't working till, I don't know, 3 days ago. It wasn't working at all, for example, for, I don't know, a few months period of time. Currently, as you can see, I put there Constanza, I put there work or nothing. I put contabil in the keywords, and I found some contables: management financier, contabil, management financier, contabil, and so on. Yeah, works in Banca Transylvania, probably her current or former job of the Sterea Oana. Used to be contabil as well, so it's doing something, but you can, for example, usually for Facebook I'm using the X-ray search, which in this case would look like this. I would put here site facebook.com. Here I would put contabil, Constanza, which constant like this, and I would put here, for example, there are more ways how to do that, to present minus posts, which must be there. Simply don't much think about it, like to find people having this, it must be there. And you can see I found more, definitely, yeah. Michaela, Silvia, Bobeanu, to present Constanza, and working as contabil, yeah, and so on and so on and so on. Yeah. Expert contabil, Alina Hrytku, Alistar Anna Maria, contabil, and so on. Yeah. So it's definitely better results. As you can see, I changed my Google to have 100 results per page, but it's definitely better results than we have here. Yeah. So working with Facebook is the whole chapter, and not only Facebook, because Facebook owns also Instagram, yeah, and you can work with Instagram in a similar basis as well. It's called sometimes it's called behavioral sourcing, because on Facebook we can also not only search by keywords like here, but we can search for people if they are liking, for example, posts about accounting. Yeah, we can kind of assume that those people might have something in common with accountants. So this is assistenta medicala, in Cluj-Napoca, for example, you can see it will do some results, but when you use Facebook X-ray search over Google, you will definitely have better results. And there is definitely more to this chapter. Then I'm showing, for example, on the one-day course, I'm showing how to work with a checklist. Yeah, because as you can see, I showed you LinkedIn, I showed you Facebook, but we just scratched the surface. Yeah, because we, for example, find out people like product managers, but how to find out product managers in automotive industry properly. So you have them all. Yeah, is the whole procedure. And sourcing checklist, which I'm giving away at the training, can definitely help you, as well as sourcing stack. Yeah, sourcing stack, it's a set of tools which then I'm giving away at the training, where I maintain the best tools which I think are the best tools for the various purpose. Yeah, so imagine, I don't know, I found here for example Liviu Babaya, and this is his LinkedIn profile, all right? But as you can see here, or you probably cannot see, but it's like behind me, yeah, maybe like that, behind me, CF, which means Connectifier Social Links, yeah? So, I don't know, Neon, is it possible to, like this, maybe? If people can see the thing in the left right corner. And when I click, for example, on the SO, it means Stack Overflow. So I just click on that, and nothing. Okay, don't worry. So this is a plugin. This is a tool. It's a plugin into Google Chrome, and I can easily see, for example, on LinkedIn, if someone is already on Facebook, on Stack Overflow, GitHub, and so on. I can just click on that, and as you can see now, I'm on this guy's Stack Overflow profile. Yeah, easily by one click, because I have the plugin. Otherwise, I would need to search for the guy and so on. But imagine I need to process, for example, 100 people every day. If I save 1 minute per one people, I saved 100 minutes. Yeah, so it's also connected with the third stage, as I mentioned to you. Do it as fast as possible. So sourcing stack, where there are a lot of tools which I'm showing at the training how you can use them. Number 3 is about approaching people. There are different things, from how to technically get, for example, the email address. Yeah. For example, here in this case, when you use this link, as you can see, here's the link, and you just change the email address at the very end and hit enter. In this case, when you do that, you will see this kind of like output from the link, which means that there is Kristina Shershun on LinkedIn having this email. Yeah, but I didn't know the email before. I just guessed the email. Yeah, I just guess. In this case, of course, probably not so much, but you would probably, in this case, you are looking, you have some person on LinkedIn, and you want to find out what's this person's email address. Yeah, so you can say, okay, Gmail, we use Gmail a lot of in Romania, so I will try kristina.shershun@gmail.com, hit enter. If you can see that profile, that LinkedIn profile right here on the web page, you found it. If there is like no matching profile were found to this email, there is nobody like that on LinkedIn using this email address. Yeah, so with this, you can kind of guess by using first name, last name, different variations of this. You can be guessing emails. So the first thing is how to get the message across. Maybe you will find the email. Maybe you will send the maybe you will send the message over Instagram. Yeah, maybe you will send a message over Facebook if it's possible. But for this, you need to find the ways how to do that, because sometimes it looks easy, but sometimes it might be difficult. You have a person on, you have a candidate on LinkedIn, but you have no reaction from that person. Yeah, so you need to do something else. The second thing is how to actually increase the response rate. You found a way how to approach the candidate, but how to increase the response rate that the person will actually reply to you. I'm using for maybe 6 years, I call it video sourcing. Yeah, there are tools for that as well. I'm showing at the training how to use them, but the principle, for example, in this case, where these tools were not at the market, we were using simply YouTube. Yeah. So for example, Zuzana here, it's our good call recruiter. We are also renting recruiters. So if you know company Tieto, and she created 20 of these videos to 20 candidates she found on LinkedIn, and IT guys, yeah, ECM specialists. Yeah. So she would be normally sending some connection, then maybe message, then maybe email. She would get maybe 4 replies, yeah, 20% from the 20 qualified candidates. So she would get 4 replies, yeah. But here, when she did the videos, she created 20 videos, starting like, hello Relu, I found your profile and blah, 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 blah. Maybe what you would normally put into the message, she just said it. But just using the video instead of text happened to be the differentiator, and 100 of people replied to her. All of those people actually replied to her. There are ways how to do that, let's say on a bigger scale, and that's also one of the parts. Not only video, but there are of course like what to put into the message, how to do the follow-ups, how to create email sequence conversations, for example. So you are automating the follow-up emails. It's also possible. Yeah, when the person candidate will not reply to your first email, how to send the second and third automatically. It's possible to do that. And something to sourcing automation, which you can try, for example, right away. One of the tools you can use for LinkedIn actually, it's called Linkit Helper. Yeah, I will show you the website, because it's not LinkedIn Helper, but just Linkit Helper, like this, linkithelper.com. And it's a Google Chrome plugin. So you will download the plugin. Here in the download section you will see how to actually install it, because this plugin it's not presented in a web store, so you need to install it separately. And then when you do some search, product manager Romania, whatever, for example, I can do that. Now I have 4,000 results here, which is of course, let me put there, for example, Brasov. So I don't have there many results. 91 is just not so many. Like 91, of course, you can do that manually. But even the 91, if I don't have time, I can set up Linkit Helper, which is this plugin right here, like behind me, where you can see here the functionality. If I click on this, this is the functionality. Yeah, so you can, for example, send automatically invites to your second and third degree contacts. That's what I would do in this case. But you can also send messages to your first degree contacts. So imagine you have already 2,000 contables in your network, but there is no functionality in LinkedIn how you could automate a message to these people. With this tool, you can do that. So in this case, I would use the collect, select, and invite second and third degree contacts. It has 3 stages. In the collect stage, you would just hit collect, and for 91 people, it would take 2 minutes. Yeah, it would just scroll down all the results. It would be clicking here on these pages, and it would grab all like just the links to the people. Yeah, it would just create a list of people. So here already collected, you would see, for example, 91. Yeah, then you can change. You could change, for example, the search, and you can collect again. And instead of 91, you could have, for example, 300, and so on. You can collect. You can do the collect phase, for example, 5 times for different searches. So you have one huge bulk of people, for example, 500 people here in already collected. Then you click on message. In message, you would set up a message. But the perfect about this is that you can use the variables. So I can put there hi, first name. I just click on the first name, it will get me a first name. So if the person is called Clementina, it would say hi Clementina. Because you work as position, you can use again the variable for position, you can use the variable for company, and many other variables you can see here. Yeah, so you can say something like, I noticed that you work at company, and it will fill out Emerson, Robert Bosch, and so on. Yeah, it will fill out automatically what's on the people's profile. So as you can see, it's customized. Yeah, some people, vast majority of people, to be honest, they will be kind of thinking that you actually wrote a message, but it's not completely true. Even if you would write it in the same way, only manually doing copy paste. Then you click on invite and you start inviting profiles. Yeah, it will invite 100 profiles every 24 hours. I don't recommend you to actually increase this. You might be getting into some problems that LinkedIn will find out that you are using some automatic software for automation. Yeah, so that's LinkedIn Helper, great tool. I'm using that actually on my 3 computers on my desk. Yeah, on my main computer here I use a different plugin which I'm showing in the, or it's not a plugin, but it's a tool I'm showing at the training. Yeah, there are some reasons to that, but it's not important right now. And the final module is about personal branding for recruiters, or HR marketing things which you as a talent sourcer or recruiter can do. Yeah, so I'm talking there about things like, for example, in this case you can see 2 different posts which I created here, which has over 120 likes, 22 likes, and over 220 comments, which is the reason why the post was seen by 82,000 people. It's like a lot. Yeah, if you normally, for example, here in this case, Zdenka Krejčíková is the first Recruitment Academy Awards Recruiter of the Year. We have kind of like awards with Recruitment Academy here in the Czech Republic. So she's the first Recruiter of the Year. She just posted that I'm the Recruiter of the Year, and she got over 560 likes, 50 comments, and you can see 40,000 people actually viewed the post, which is massive. Yeah, you would normally not be getting these numbers. Yeah, maybe on your market because you are twice the market of the Czech Republic, so it might be a little bit higher than the average in the Czech Republic, but normally it's not average. So in this, I'm not talking about not only about your profile, but I'm talking how to do a post which a lot of people will actually see. Yeah, so how to increase the organic reach of the post, what to post, and so on. For example, in this case, we created a GIF file, which, as you can see, it's a job description, but it looks like a Linux configuration file. Yeah, IT recruiter at good call, but it's a GIF file, so you can see the apply now. It's actually moving. So as you can see right here, in the same way, people actually saw it on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, and so on, but mainly the LinkedIn. Yeah, so there are ways how you can actually grab the attention and how to technically spread the message, so the more people actually see it, and of course it's giving you the competitive advantage. So the overall goal of the training, which will happen on the 28th of April, is actually utilizing the benefits of LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, and as I said, any other sources, reducing recruitment costs. Yeah, because you can be doing a lot of things on your own. As you can see, using some of the automation tools, it can help you. Maybe instead of hiring someone doing these first approaching, you can use a robot for that. Yeah, the reality is already here. It's definitely about gaining a competitive advantage and to hire more people, you were not able, for example, to find easily, and so on. So enhancing the effectiveness, be more effective, time effective, finding the people faster, and so on. Expanding the number of relevant candidates, it's definitely about that, and overall improving the team performance. Yeah, so as I already said, the full day training, 28th of April, and if you are on this webinar, you have a great chance to use the promo code for the 20% discount. So if you open this link right here, as you can see in the picture, you would get to learningnetwork.ro, where you can actually see the full description of the course. You can see there what people said about the training in some other countries, for example, so you can see some references as well. You can see other references on my profile, for example. You can also open Josef Kadlec, like my name.com, josefkadlec.com, and you can see more information there as well. Yeah, so this is like the walkthrough through the whole topic basically. Yeah, we went through the analytics, we went to the searching and targeting, we went a little bit into approaching as well, technical, and the let's say psychological as well, and finally something about the HR marketing. In the training we go much deeper, of course, because the time we can spend on each chapter is much higher. Yeah, so don't forget, if you are interested in this, definitely use the webinar promo code and utilize this chance to have the 20% discount. So hopefully see you soon. Let me just check if there are some more maybe questions. Simona is asking, how do we know a profile is still used by the person? To be honest, now I'm not sure what you mean by that. How do we know a profile is still used by the person? Simona, if you could maybe say it in a different way, or I'm not sure which what was disconnected to. Thanks, Juliana. We will be definitely sending the presentation as well, so or the recording of the webinar, so you can grab a chance to get back to some of the topics. Daniela, yeah, Daniela, as I said, it will be definitely sent to you. All right, yeah. All right, so maybe Simona, if you have the question, just send me a message on LinkedIn, Facebook, send me email, and I would be glad to kindly answer your question. So feel free to ask directly to me. Simona is already here. Okay. If the person with the account is active on LinkedIn, okay, so you mean in general, like if we are approaching people who are maybe, yeah, of course there are people who are not active with LinkedIn. That's actually why, because of course that happens. Yeah, you will send them a message, invite, whatever. You have no reply. That's absolutely normal. Sometimes the reason is that, for example, those people, they didn't enable their notifications. That's why you need to do a follow-up. That's absolutely mandatory. If I have no reply, even for the connect on LinkedIn, I need to do the follow-up using, for example, email. Yeah, finding email. There are some ways how to do that. Maybe using Facebook, maybe using some other social channels. Yeah, that's the first part basically about the approaching, how to technically find a way to effectively put the message across to the person. Yeah, but that's definitely true. Some people will simply not reply to you on LinkedIn. Yeah, but definitely the information on LinkedIn is valuable for us, because even if we see someone who's working as mechanical engineer in Emerson, but he's not replying to our messages, we can grab a phone, we can call to Emerson, and we can try to get to that person over the phone. At least we know the name of the person. Imagine that sometimes here in the Czech Republic we do a technique which is called name sourcing. We sometimes calling companies without actually even the knowledge of the name of the person. Yeah, so we call the company and we say, could you connect me with your director of logistics? We have no clue about who's doing the director of logistics there, and that's called name sourcing. Yeah, so that's the next stage. Andra, I was actually awaiting some question about GDPR. How GDPR proof are the methods you are showing? In general, it's absolutely GDPR compliant, because, for example, even if you have, we didn't show this, but even if you have some plugin which will show you that the email address of this person is this, it's like you would find it on Google. You can, like Google, for example, on the internet. Yeah, you can use it, but GDPR is most likely about storing data. Yeah, so once you see it and use it, it's absolutely okay. Once you see it and store it to your database without a consent to a candidate, there's a problem. Yeah, but it doesn't matter if you found the information on LinkedIn, Facebook, anywhere. Yeah, so there are some publicly available information, but the GDPR in general, this is not like my statement as a lawyer, but in general, because we are doing the data recruit, one of our companies, so we are actually managing other companies' data. So we have the GDPR officer here and so on. So we discussed this really comprehensively, and in general, the problem is about saving the data. Yeah, so using these plugins and so on, in general, it's absolutely okay. Who might be in problems might be the owners of the plugins if they don't have the consent to have the people's data in their plugins. If you use it, it's absolutely okay. Julia, did you have any negative reactions after sending text, SMS to candidates? Don't they perceive it as being a bit intrusive? Like, it might be a question, for example, with Facebook as well. A lot of people take Facebook as like a private network, and of course, for example, even me personally, I got some reply, something like, don't you know LinkedIn? I was like, yeah, I know LinkedIn. I sent you there a message like 1 month ago without any replies. That's why I need to do something else. So you need to be thinking. On the other hand, we have candidates, they have no LinkedIn, they have just Facebook. Imagine that on Facebook, there are 4 or 5 times more people than on LinkedIn. Yeah, so we can say that the vast majority of our candidates are actually on Facebook, not on LinkedIn. So we have a lot of candidates. We are doing a lot of these, for example, share service centers, multilingual roles, and so on. And a lot of these people, they don't have LinkedIn at all, and they are chatting with us just using Facebook. Yeah? As well as we are using, for example, Facebook groups to putting their positions and so on. With the SMS, it's similar, but if I would compare SMS and Facebook, I would say that Facebook might be more sensitive than SMS. With SMS, usually it's not a problem. Usually people like it because they don't want to, for example, answer a call from a number they don't know. But if you send them a message, hey, it's about this and this, my name is this, I'm from this company, then they will answer the call, or they call you back, or they answer the call when you call them once again, for example, the next day. Yeah, so I can definitely tell you really a positive impact about SMSs. And also in the process where, for example, the next day, imagine you have a candidate for tomorrow going for the interview, sending him or her SMS like, hey, dear Mr. Candidate, you have interview tomorrow at 12 at this company, good luck. Yeah? You can definitely avoid some things like that. For example, you have candidates who never got to the interview and so on. Florina, how do we automate the follow-up process with the candidates who didn't reply the first message by using Linkit Helper? I'm not sure if you can do that. Of course, it would be possible to like program something like that. What you can do with Linkit Helper is that when someone accepted your message, you can automatically send like message invite. When someone accepted invite, you can automatically reply with a message. Thank you for accepting my invite and blah 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 blah. Yeah, because we know that the first invite is limited to 300 characters. The second message can be already like a normal message. That's what you can do. What you are thinking that if I send message or invite, I have no reply to. With Linkit Helper, I don't think that that you can do that. Yeah. With Linkit Helper and invites, you need to be checking who's actually, for example, accepted your invitation, which you can easily do that manually in LinkedIn. You can also easily check people who actually didn't accept your invite. If you click on network on the top, send, invite, send, then you will see the list from the newest to the oldest invites, which like you are waiting for the acceptance. Yeah, Simona, to be honest, we don't know. Yeah, as well as we don't know that it's a fake profile and so on. We need to be working with some percentage of probability. Yeah? So, for example, one of the ways how to find out if some profile is obsolete is that there are some tools which you can use for example, mailtester.org, I think. Just put mail tester into Google and you can check if, for example, the working email is actually functional. Yeah, it's not in 100% cases, it doesn't work, but it works. And if you see that someone's email, corporate email, company email, doesn't exist, and the person is still on the LinkedIn profile saying I'm working for this company, you can say, aha, the person is probably not working there anymore. Yeah, but in general, it depends how you like bother, because if I'm looking, for example, I was mentioning the accountant. If I'm looking for accountant and the person like is not already at the accountant job, he's somewhere else, but his profile, like the overall working profile, is accountant. Yeah, so I'm definitely interested in this profile regardless the person is currently working. Yeah, so of course we can spot fake profiles, of course we can spot obsolete profiles. I remember a situation where one big corporation got problems that someone were creating fake profiles of their board members in the US and inviting people for fake interviews, for example. So people were flying all over from New York to Los Angeles to undertake a fake interview, which of course never happened. Yeah, so it's a big it was a big problem. Yeah, so like honest answer is you cannot. There are some ways how to find out, but normally you don't bother. All right, any other questions? I give you 1 minute if you have some other questions. Otherwise, full day training 28th of April by Learning Network, Recruitment Academy and OG Europe. And don't forget the promo code webinar if you want to know more about this. We will be going from the analytics over searching, targeting, over approaching, up to the personal branding and HR marketing things, which you can use as an active recruiter or sourcer. All right, thank you very much. I really much enjoyed this webinar. I hope you saw. If you have any more questions, just reach me out directly. I have no problem to answer any questions for you about the training or about some technical things I was maybe describing in this webinar. All right, see you soon. La vedere, and see you at the training. Ciao.